Hello, hello, what's up? This is alertwolf here to bring you my Blast of Tempest episode 4 review. And basically, this episode, this episode's basically mostly a flashback. You get the story of how our boys meet and become friends, you know. And, you know, Mahiro and Yoshino. And basically what happens is Hayase, yeah, I think I'm pronouncing that right, the princess, as I've been calling her throughout these last reviews, wants to know about her. And alright, so the episode starts, they get to a new town. This summary's going to be brief, so this video shouldn't be too long. They get to a new town, and, you know, they're just looking around. They see boys playing. It's like a mountain town. They're at a shrine, and all of a sudden, they see the butterflies. They know what that means. A fruit's about to come out. These people are about to turn to iron. Yoshino goes to warn the townspeople that of the imminent destruction, and nobody believes him. This cold couple, he tried to warn, he didn't have time. The ground starts breaking up. The princess Hayase starts to notice that he can act rash too, because she figured he was too calm and cold and calculating to like act boldly, but he was trying, you know, he's trying to save people. And he tries to, and he couldn't save the old people because they didn't believe him. And then the boys that were playing, they're in danger, so he rushes to them. The ground breaks apart, splits open on him. He's falling in, and he throws his ring, which is the talisman, at the boys, hoping the ring would be enough to save the boys, and it wasn't. They died, or were turned to iron, huddled up. And, you know, in the end, he left his it was raining, he left his umbrella with the boys so they'd be, you know, taken care of. It's a moving thing. Then they find this house, and inside this house, you know, it's basically empty because, you know, everybody's been turned to iron, black iron, and so he, you know, they go inside. Mahiro, or Mahiro, no, Mahiro, yeah. Mahiro decides to go take a shower, and, you know, he finds out there's no shower, and you get a scene with him slightly. You know, he got walked in on by Yoshino, and you get a scene of his ass. I don't know, whatever. You know, guess that's fine, man ass in an episode. But, you know, and he goes, I guess he has to take a bath. So, the princess, she's wondering how they met, because they don't seem like they should be friends. Or how they became friends. And he's like, you're right, you know, in the beginning, I wasn't, you know, he was good at sports and math and whatnot, and he was just a smart dude, but, you know, he's a bit of a brash kid, and he used to get into fights, and I would avoid him. And so he tells the story as he's cooking dinner of how they met, and basically, or how they became friends is one day, I think when he was in the 3rd grade, when Maharo's walking home from school, this guy on a motorcycle like goes to hit him and veers off and hits him, and he actually kills himself, but you know, Mahiro survives, and he's hurt, but he survives, and he ends up in the hospital. Then the teacher is looking for somebody to go with him to cheer him up. You know, he's in the hospital to convey the wishes to the class, and everybody's pretty much against it because they're all afraid of him. So in the end, Yoshino gets, obviously he's the one chosen. he goes in there, and Mahiro's like, listen, man, this guy targeted me. I could feel the bloodlust in his eyes. I think he committed the crime as an excuse to kill me, and I need help to prove it. And so he gets conned in because he tells the teacher that, oh, we're friends, and he wants to come back. So he gets conned into this mess, and he's like, fine. But this is how smart these kids are. The one kid knew, as kids, Mahiro knew that he was being targeted, and he completely can tell that guy was out to kill him. And then Yoshino, with a little motivation of trying to get this crazy guy out of his life, instantly solves the crime and figures out that it was the chauffeur, and that they were friends, and this is how this happened in like a day. So, and then Mahiro tells his father, and that's settled. You don't know what happens, but that's pretty much settled. And then what happens is, as a result, the teacher puts him in charge of Mahiro, because he's trying to get rid of him, puts him in charge of him, like, no, you're going to be his keeper, basically. And after that, pretty much because of this one teacher, they're forced to spend the rest of their academic career as friends throughout elementary school, middle school. They would constantly be put in the same classes. They would, they'd just be put together. So they ended up becoming friends because they were forced to be friends. Because they're both two loner kids, And when they were fighting about trying to get him to help, he's like, oh, you're one to talk. You calling, I don't have friends. I don't even know your name, and we've been going to school together since we were little, right? So there are these two oddball, opposite loners, fire and ice, who were forced into becoming friends. And then she asked him, she's like, well, that must have been rough. He's like, yeah, but, I probably wouldn't have went as far as I am right now if it wasn't for him. And so then Mahiro gets out of the bath, flashback over, they eat the food, and then they go to bed. And Mahiro's wondering something, which is why Yoshino is immune to the Black Iron Syndrome, because if you'll remember in the first episode, when that first kicked in, he really wasn't too close to the talismans. And then this time, when it kicked in again, he threw away the talisman that he had on him to give to the boys, and he's not really affected by this. And so there's a bit of a mystery, because maybe he has natural magic within him. You don't know. And he picks up on things pretty fast. So, they go to sleep. The princess doesn't answer this question because she falls asleep. He wakes up first, Mahiro, and decides to go for a morning walk, get something to drink, and she asks him the same question of how they met. He's like, oh, a little bit of this and that, and then this thing, and then we're friends, whatever. And she's like, well, I heard the story from Yoshino. And he's like, well, then why did you ask me? She goes, oh, I just wanted to hear your version of him. And so he tells a part of the story that happens that Yoshino left out, which is after he comes back to school, he basically gives a report of what happened, and he completely lies and makes it up, which is that the reason why he got hit was because he was saving a puppy, and he was trying to and he got hit because he saved this puppy, and then he wanted to. The reason why they became friends is he asked him to help him to find the owner of the puppy, and so he did. So the puppy got taken care of, because before this, people thought of him as this angry, bully kid, and now, he made him out to have a heart of gold. So he's like, after that, all these people were acting strangely nice to me. Like, all of a sudden, they understood me. And he goes, it was at that moment I realized how vicious he could actually be behind that pretty smile of his. And and then she asked him, well, I guess that's rough. He goes, yeah, but I wouldn't have made it as far as I did if I didn't meet him. So because she asked him how he would, you know, what if he never met him, where would he be? And then and she's like, oh, you think you would be in the same spot? And so he said no, that he only made it as far as because of him, which is the same answer his buddy gave when she asked that question of him before. So she starts cracking up. And that's pretty much the episode. You know, we don't really get too much after that. It's basically, you know, it was just backstory on them being friends. It was almost like a slice of life episode, with the exception of, you know, the fact that everybody in the town died at the beginning of the episode, and it's a messed up situation. I enjoyed this episode. Obviously, I wanted more action. I would have preferred, you know, some more magical combat. I almost feel like this episode was a little bit of a stall tactic. Again, now, I'm going to qualify this to both animes that I'm reviewing. I have not met... If there's a manga, I haven't read it. So, I just put that out there. Yeah, I did. It was like a messed up slice of life episode. And I did you know, I did like the little backstory they did. Again, I would have wanted a lot more action. I wanted to see some more magical fights or magical training of some sort. But we got important backs. Well, you know what? I don't know if it's important, but it leads you to understand their characters. And the fact that this thing, with there being a mystery and these two having to solve it, has happened before in the past. That's how they met. You know? So, these two doing this to solve a mystery is very natural to them. Even though this is supernatural stuff and magic, this type of figuring out the sister's murderer and figuring out where the links lead is actually very natural to these two as they work together. So I mean I think it was I think this episode was important for just the background and to get more depth into the characters. So, again, I didn't mind it. But that being said, I thought it was a good episode. So I'd rate it a 3 out of 5. You know, it's obviously not the best episode in the series. As far as action's concerned, this is probably the worst episode in the series. But it was a nice change of pace, and I personally enjoyed it. So, again, 3 out of 5. You know, next week we're going to kick back into the action, so I'm looking forward to it. And so this is a little alert wolf saying click it up if you like it, subscribe if you can, and comment if you must. And this is me signing out.